Okay, we're live.
Good morning, everyone. Before I call the meeting to order, I just want to remind everybody that members of the public may attend via live stream at MUSD Board of Education meeting on YouTube. This meeting is also being audio and video recorded to listen or watch later. So I want to call to order the special meeting of the Board of Education of the Martinez Unified School District. And we'll start with agenda item 3, which is approval of the agenda. Julie, do we have any changes to our agenda this morning?
We do not. Do you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, yes, let's do that. I forgot about that part. So
No problem.
how about Robin? Can you lead us in the pledge this morning?
Of course. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, so back to agenda item 3, approval of the agenda. It doesn't look like there's any changes. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Student vote, Robin?
Aye.
Full board, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so agenda item 4 is public comment. Under Government Code 54954.3, members of the public have the right to address the board on any matter within the board's jurisdiction. However, the board may not take action on any non-agenda item. Individual speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board. 20 minutes have been allocated for this portion of the agenda. Additional time is allowed at the end of the meeting if there was not enough time to speak during public comments. Let me check to see if we have any public comment. It doesn't look like it. Check one more time. Okay. So now we move on to agenda item 5, items for board action, and 5.1 is approval to accept the memorandum of understanding between the Martinez Education Association and Martinez Unified School District. This is an action item, and Julie gets to present this morning.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for coming this morning, and I really want to thank our labor partners. This negotiation task has been quite an adventure. It has been a very long and thorough process, but I appreciate the collaboration, the true thought and concern that has gone in from our Martinez Educators Association to really make sure that our facilities are safe, that our students are going to be safe, that the teachers are going to be safe, that all staff is going to be safe when we return to work. I just want to thank everybody. There's a number of details from this MOU that will guide us till the end of the school year. And wanted to just again say I know there's been a lot of media attention about kind of labor negotiations and how challenging they've been. And I really want to emphasize how pleased I have been with the collaboration of all of our unit members in MEA and CSEA as well. And so this one is for obviously Martinez Educators Association, but would like to have that approved. And then when that is approved, I would just like to kind of say that I will be providing a great deal of information to staff and families as we return to school. Things are going to move quickly in the next couple weeks here. We are going to open schools. We're excited about it. We're thrilled to bring our kids back to school and kind of, again, resume some sense of normalcy in our daily lives. So wanted to really thank everyone for this whole process and talk a little bit to the extent of if this is approved and accepted, we will be reopening our TK through 2 schools next week, and our elementary school is starting next March 11th, and a great deal more information will be forthcoming.
Okay, we'll open it up for board questions.
Jeremy, I
Any
have
of it?
a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Okay, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Julie. We've heard from a lot of community members, stakeholders, parents, teachers, other staff members. A lot of people think we didn't do this fast enough. A lot of people think it was too quick. A lot of people don't think we should be going back to school at all. Some people think we should be going every day, full day. I'm glad that now we can at least move forward, hopefully with some unity and without so much uncertainty. My first question, I have a couple, but I hope they're pretty short questions. One thing I noticed at the beginning of this MOU is that it says that the October 28th MOU is suspended if we get another stay-at-home order. Why is that? Can you just explain that briefly?
Sure, absolutely. If we go back into another shelter in place or stay at home order, that would be one of the conditions that we had put in the MOU, that we would close schools again, based on kind of recommendations from the state as well. If our case rates increase past the purple tier and they keep going higher and higher, we want to make sure that we're ensuring safety for both students and staff. So that was one of the precautions that we put into place with the MOU.
Okay, I understood that. And that's what it means when it's referring to the October 28th MOU?
Correct.
Okay, great. And then I know that you said this is for until the end of the school year. I know, we obviously don't know what the state and county guidelines are going to be in August, but what does that process look like so that if it's possible that we are back to normal by then, we can do that and be ready to go? What do we have left to do there?
We would have to go back to the table again. So if conditions are changing significantly, we can bargain basically the impact of new guidelines, changing guidelines. We would want to come back to the table and renegotiate with our labor partners. So again, we don't know what the new guidance will be, if there will be new guidance. One of the biggest challenging pieces for schools, for public schools, is kind of the spacing issue. And so I've heard there's been a lot of questions coming forth about, I want my kids back in school 5 days a week. Right now, we cannot do that based on our guidance because we do not have the space in our classroom to keep everybody, to bring 30, 35 students back at a time in one spot. We do not have the adequate spacing. So that's why we do these hybrid schedules. Again, I'm hoping with the increase of vaccines, with case rates continuing to go down, I am absolutely hopeful that there'll be changing guidance come summer and in the future. It's just, I wish I had my crystal ball. This is the I wish I had my crystal ball conversation. So I am hoping that we are back in the classroom full time next year if things are safe to do so. And I think that's something we've been very mindful, and I appreciate the board's concern for all involved. And again, kind of our mantra has been, we will open schools when it's safe to do so. And so I think the same mantra will carry forward into next year as well. But we would love to have all of our kids back in the classroom 5 days a week and everybody back together.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And that segues into my last two questions. On the third page of the MOU, it talks about how once teachers have been vaccinated, school would remain open even if we were in shelter in place. And I know some of our teachers have recently had the opportunity to get their first vaccine. That number is a little bit ambiguous where it just says once teachers. Is that referring to everyone that wants it both shots? Can we make that a little bit more clarify that a little?
Sure. So the intent behind that was that everybody had not just teachers too. It was, we have nurses. It's the Educators Association, counselors, everyone involved.
Right.
And so kind of the intent behind that was that everybody had the opportunity to be vaccinated. We are not mandating that everybody be vaccinated at this time. So we are trying to make sure that everybody's had the opportunity to be vaccinated. And we did not specify first or second shots during the MOU. So it's just at this point, it's the opportunity to be vaccinated. And so we've been very fortunate. The county is now kind of giving some districts some codes that we will be able to utilize in the next few days here. Contra Costa County has stepped up its efforts as well. So I'm very, very hopeful and optimistic about the access to vaccines for our staff.
Okay, great. And can you, my last question is, can you tell us how many elementary families are opting for hybrid learning versus how many want to stay in distance learning?
Helen, can I maybe ask you to chime in on this one? We have a number of split. It's a very interesting dynamics. I don't have the percentage right off the top of my head. I know we have 35 elementary teachers who are teaching both hybrid and distance learning. So in-person learning in the morning, and then afternoon is the distance learning piece. Helen, do you have a better handle on the numbers than I do?
Just give me 1 second, okay? And I'll give them right to you. I have it pulled up here. I just have to make sure everything's correct.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can move on and Helen can chime in when she gets that, so that we're not, I know people have things to do today.
Perfect. Sure. Are there any other questions that I can answer for any of the board members?
Well, Helen's ready.
Okay.
Oh, go Helen.
I have 728 students out of 1,598 coming back to hybrid in responses. Yes. So,
Okay, so just under about half.
That's about half. It's about
Okay.
half on this here. I think has changed a little bit since we received a little bit more information. My last calculation was about 60%. This is old data here that I'm working off of. It's about 60%.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board questions? Julie, so just to go ahead, Jonathan.
I don't have a question, but just wanted to make a comment before we take action on this. And sorry, I missed the last meeting. I had issues with childcare, which I think is affecting all workers in the last year. You know, it's been almost a year since former Superintendent Kemick and I decided to bring the issue of closing in-person instruction to the full board. And it's heartening to me that we're able to have this discussion less than a year, although it's almost a year from when we did take the vote to close in-person instruction. And the last year has been incredibly difficult for everyone in our community. And I just want to thank everyone in the Martinez Unified community for their ongoing support of all of our administrators, educators, paraeducators, all classified staff, anyone who's been impacted by this, which is everybody. And as I've been saying for a year, we're all in this together. And although I've been, you know, frankly upset by the fact that there are voices in our community who seem to want to blame teachers for the fact that we chose to err on the side of safety. I think that's an incredibly false argument and really needs to be called out. The fact is that what we've heard loud and clear from MEA and educators throughout the state is that they've had concerns about safety. And any of us who are involved in voting to shut down schools a year ago knew full well that creating a safe space for employees to return to work in person should have been the #1 priority. But instead, there were forces in the state and the country who chose to prioritize many other things ahead of creating a safe working environment for school employees. We prioritized opening malls, we prioritized opening bars, we prioritized sporting events. We did not prioritize creating a safe environment for our students and our school employees. And now we're at a point where the governor has had to scramble to set aside 10% of vaccines for educators and other school employees so that we can get people back to work safely. This should have been the #1 priority of anyone above our pay grades a year ago. And I was screaming from the rooftops to anyone who would listen, God darn it, prioritize, because we knew the vaccine was going to come. We knew that Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson and many other companies throughout the world, it wasn't just European and American-based companies as well, I might add. Plenty of other countries and companies around the world have produced vaccines that are just as effective and already in use. We knew that they were coming. We knew that a vaccine was going to come. We knew that a coronavirus could be stopped with inoculations. And yet no one thought it was important to think, well, gee, we really want our students back in classrooms. We're all getting pretty tired of watching our kids suffer through distance learning. Teachers are getting really tired of teaching through a screen. Maybe we should prioritize making them feel safe to return to work. Nobody did that. And now the blame lies squarely with us and our hardworking teachers and other employees. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Just today, the East Bay Times had a scathing editorial, once again blaming teachers for not wanting to work in unsafe conditions. We don't blame professional football players for wanting to wear pads and helmets. We don't blame law enforcement officers for wanting to wear bulletproof vests. Yet we're asking our educators to return to classrooms where they feel they will be exposed in large amounts to a virus that could kill them or their family members. That's absurd. And I'm making this diatribe yet again for the point that we need to listen to the people doing the work as their employer. It's our job to hear from people who say they feel unsafe on the job. And I'm very proud of the fact that this district has done that. Other districts are trying to do that. But the politicization of workplace safety has to stop. And voices in our community who want to get together and hold a public action on Friday, God bless you, more power to you. Please wear a mask. But the fact is that we're taking action today, I'm intending to at least, to approve this MOU so that we can get students back in classrooms as much as possible, as safely as possible, so that our employees are as safe as possible on the job while serving our community. And they've continued to serve our community above and beyond the call of duty for the last 12 months. Above and beyond the call of duty. Every single one of Martinez Unified School District employees have worked above and beyond. And these last 12 months will go down in history as not just a unique time, but a time when those who were called to service stood up and served their community. And those who would like to castigate people who have devoted their lives to serving their communities at this point in time, hopefully those voices will be drowned out by the sands of time. Because today I'm saying thank you to every single one of you who have had to slog through educating our students over a screen, who have had to slog through coming to school sites, risking your health and safety. And we know that we've had employees who have contracted the virus on the job, and we've done everything we possibly could. The fact is that you can still get very sick from this disease. Very few of us have had the privilege of being vaccinated yet. I'm, thinking that it's going to be some time. I mean, President Biden is saying that hopefully by June or July, there will be enough vaccines for every person in the country. We know that it's despite his best efforts, and thank goodness he's prioritizing this effort. But despite that, it's still going to take some time until every adult in this country can have access to the vaccine. And we know that it's disproportionately affecting lower socioeconomic communities, Black and Brown communities. And yet here we are, we're moving forward to best serve the needs of our students. But again, I want to thank district leadership, Superintendent Sinyard, Alan Rossi, every single one of you who have been involved in these negotiations. Stacy, Janelle, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for the incredible hard work. Amy, all of you. I'm sorry if I'm leaving anybody out, but I'm getting emotional about this because the emails that I get from otherwise well-thinking, well-meaning people saying, you need to take on the teachers. Excuse me. MEA has been a partner in this process. And I'm very proud of the work that we've accomplished together through our labor management partnership in a collaborative and cooperative effort to come up with an agreement that is better than either side could have come up with on their own. That's the beauty and power of collective bargaining. And voices who are saying we should blame teachers for wanting to be safe on the job, what they're really saying is that we should do away with collective bargaining for education employees. And I'm here to say I will never tolerate that. Not in this community, not in this state, never. as long as I'm on this board, I'm going to fight to protect collective bargaining rights for our employees. So whomever at the editorial board of the East Bay Times, I hope you're listening, even though I'm sure you're not, but you're wrong. Our teachers are our partners. They're members of our community, and they're valuable. And the same thing goes for our partners at CSEA. We appreciate you, and we hope to be able to be voting to approve an agreement with you as well. Sorry for my spiel, but this has to be said. Enough is enough. I'm sick of this. Well, balderdash. It's just absurd. We need to move on, get students back in classroom as safely and as much as we possibly can based on the parameters that are available to us. Oh, and by the way, we still don't have enough money to really cover all these costs, but we're going to do it anyway because it's what we're tasked with doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Annie, do you have any questions?
No questions for me. I'll just echo that I really appreciate all the hard work that's gone from both the teachers in the bargaining unit and our district bargaining unit. I know it has been a very collaborative effort, and I really appreciate all the concerns that have been brought forth. And I think that we have a really solid MOU here that I'm really glad that that was agreed upon by both parties.
Yeah, I agree. Well said, Jonathan. I don't know that I could have said it better than that. Julie, I've got just a couple of questions that I'm sure folks out there listening have. So can you just remind us so that the timeline, so the TK through 2 will be back when?
March 11th. We want to start next Thursday, bringing back our our early elementary kiddos and the preschool as well. So MEIPP, and I will send all of this out in a communication this afternoon, and then bringing back our third graders the following week, and the fourth and fifth graders, bringing back everybody the following week. And so this will all be detailed in information going home from the district and from sites. We will be sending home some training videos so folks will know what to do when they're getting to campus. And then we also are looking at where we're creating an estimated return date for our secondary students. Basically, we're hedging our bets a little bit. We're waiting until we return to the red tier. We're anticipating potentially a March 29th return date for secondary. This will all be based on whether or not we make it into the red tier. So I will list all of this information this afternoon, letting staff and families know. And we'll just keep everybody posted, keeping everybody abreast of all information, and keep those case rates going down. Keep wearing the masks, everybody. Please keep wearing the mask, washing the hands, all the safety protocols.
Okay, I think I'll open it up for public comment at this point. And I know, Brenda, you've got something.
Yes, first, I want to start by thanking Jonathan and the board for their support of teachers. It has been an incredibly hard time for all of us, working nonstop and then also being kicked in the teeth by some people in the public. So I want to start by saying that, and thank you for being supportive. I do have something prepared. Members of the board and the community, educators are excited to be returning to class in just a few short days. The halls of the schools are abuzz with energy and plans for welcoming our kids back to campuses. In the words of Toby Boyd, this pandemic has been wearing on all of us, and it's going to take all of us working together to make opening our schools for in-person instruction safe, stable, and successful. I want to assure everyone that from the very first day, the concerns of educators have been for the safety of our students, their families, and the educators and staff that have dedicated their lives to the Martinez community. I am aggrieved that the mutual silence that surrounds negotiations was perceived as resistance. Educators have never worked so hard, learned so much, or have had to be more innovative to make things work with less than we have ever had before to do the job. Over the years, we have taken the stewardship of our students with a solemn commitment to do our very best and to keep them safe. We have stood strong when faced with draconian budget cuts to our programs, gun violence, and now a deadly virus that has claimed more than 1 in 1,000 lives in California. We are still standing up and we will continue to do what is right by our kids. As we return to campuses, the stewardship of all of our students, their families, our educators and staff will also be in the hands of our community. We must work together to keep our classrooms safe and open. Thank you.
Well said, Brenda. Thank you very much. Let's see. It doesn't look like there is any other public comment. So we'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Is there any further discussion from board members? Okay, if not, Jonathan, I think this would be apropos for you to make this motion. So why don't
Thank you
go
very
ahead?
much, President Giannelli. I appreciate the privilege of being able to move that we approve to accept the memorandum of understanding between the Martinez Education Association and the Martinez Unified School District.
Second.
Okay. Does Robin get a vote on this? I forget. I think she does, right? Student vote, Robin?
No, it's a personnel issue.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
right. So she can't vote on this one.
Sorry, Robin, sorry.
Okay, full board, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. That's very exciting that we have this done. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, all the kiddos back on campus. So this would be, we'd move on to agenda item 6, which is additional public comment. We don't need that. And so we can adjourn this meeting this morning after passing this MOU. Very, very well done, everybody. I'm very excited to have everybody back on campus and at least getting started on seeing students back on campus. So our next meeting is March 8th, which will be a regular meeting of the Board of Education. And with that, we can adjourn at 9:30 this morning. Thank you, everybody.